whether it will not necessarily stay the same, which is why I point out that it's an annual contract.
So the coverages won't be the same? What about my pre-existing medical conditions at that point? Will those...
That will never be a barrier to changing into a Medicare Advantage plan. Okay, but the terms and conditions of the annual contract will change. They can be expected to change. You should expect them to change. The fact of the matter is there are 58 million people with the red, white, and blue card, and 10,000 people turn 65.
Say that again. How many?
58 million Medicare beneficiaries.
And this next stat is staggering. Tell me again.
And it's 10,000 people a day turn 65 in the United States every day for what will be more than the next 15 years.
Wow, that's staggering.
Look at all the money we paid in.
So what will end up happening is that you can change during the Medicare Advantage plan. If you've been enrolled in a Medicare Advantage plan, you can change freely during this next period, which begins on October 15th.
And ends December
7th.
Okay.
I have a question.
Are you ready for a question?
Sure.
Okay.
Where does HAP come in?
So HAP is the name, for those of you in the local area, is a name of a Medicare Advantage carrier. It offers Medicare Advantage plans. It also offers Medigap plans. So
What's Medigap?
We will get to that in the next few minutes. I guess we're running.
So far we have Part A. It's hard to understand, so that's why I want to keep reiterating. Sure. Part A is...
That is for hospital.
Part B.
Part B is for medical, which I called services.
And I like that so much better. And C.
Well, Part C, like I said, is called Medicare Advantage. It basically replaces Part A and B and combines them. Usually it has both elements of Part A, Part B, and prescription plan all in one. The majority of plans in the country have the combination all in one.
And then there's also a Part D.
Part D is standalone prescription drug plan.
So can I get A, B, and D?
You can.
Can I get A, B, C, and D?
You cannot.
Because the Advantage has the prescription built in it.
There's one exception to that, but it is in very, very few cases. But there is one exceptional case where you can have A, B, C, and D. One.
Okay, so where does Medigap insurance come in?
So Medigap will pay for what Medicare, the red, white, and blue card does not. You cannot have both Medicare Advantage and Medigap plan at the same time. You cannot.
But can you have A, B, and Medicare supplement?
Yes, you can. Medicare supplement will pay for the portions that Part A and Part B do not cover. It does not cover prescription drug plans. Prescriptions.
So you still need D.
So you still need a standalone prescription plan, which is Part D. The issue here on Medigap, of the characteristics here are, number one, it is what I call standardized, meaning that Deb's Insurance Company compared to Blue Cross Blue Shield compared to Omaha Insurance Company, the sub-selection, let's just call it Medigap Plan N. The Medigap Plan Ns are identical across carrier. There is absolutely no difference across the carriers. So that's the first portion.
To coverage and price?
Coverage. Not necessarily the price.
Okay.
The prices will differ based on your age and your location. So, for example, persons here in Bay County and persons in my clients in Washtenaw County, they may have different carriers even if they had the same plan.
So it's all depends on where you live. So it's regional as well. See what I mean?
Which will be which are different than my clients in Miami. That's correct.
So, but why? What makes the difference?
The sellers have the right to set the price, and let's just presume there's a great deal of competition. So as a result, they're setting a competitive price in competitive places of their choosing.
So they may be more competitive where there's a higher percentage of people 65 and over.
We don't control how they're making those decisions, but let's just presume that it's not random. They have their own rationale for setting the price at those locations. That's what any business person in any doesn't have to be insurance. Would do.
Income would have something to do with it.
Exactly.
Right.
So it's income based?
No, not necessarily. I wouldn't, like I said, we cannot presume we know exactly what that strategy would look like.
And they don't have to disclose it?
No, they don't have to disclose it. I mean, for example, Ford, GM, and Toyota don't tell you why they're setting their price of a Taurus or a Camry.
That's true.
Nor would we expect them to. So it's pretty interesting that what ends up happening is when people think about something they understand, they just presume somebody's trying to do something wrong. But reality is that there's intense competition in this, as in any other market, and the sellers have their own set of challenges as well on their side.
I can imagine. Hoo-wee. I think we better take a break. That's intense stuff. When we come back, we have a whole bunch more questions for you, and I'm sure you have a whole bunch more answers. So we'll be back. We're here with Jae Oh, our Medicare expert.
This is the New Hope Bay Minute. We're speaking with John Zarnecki, Director of Operations. John, you've used the words wow and amazing to describe New Hope Bay. Is there any other word you might use?
The only other word that comes to mind is value. Value is basically getting more than you paid for. How do we at New Hope Bay define value? First and foremost, it's space. Our apartments begin at 600 square feet and go up from there. Secondly, we have no games in our pricing. All-inclusive means all-inclusive. There's not even an entry fee. So you know exactly what you're getting and exactly what you're paying for from the day you become a resident. And the third thing, when you talk about quality of care and folks out there telling about how great their care is, our management team has the experience, passion, and drive to serve others and have a combined 70 years of experience in this industry. That's how we at New Hope Bay define value. We'd love to have you come check out our model, make an appointment so we can tell you more about what New Hope Bay can do for you.
You've been listening to the New Hope Bay Minute. For more information or to schedule a tour of our model, go to newhopebay.org.
Are your muscles tense, achy, or just worn out? Let Juliana Tacey Massage Therapy soothe your pain away. She's licensed, insured, and board certified. She will even come to your location. She can be reached at 989-684-8255.
Looking for some fabulous jewelry? Tracy Lynn Jewelry's got it, and Tamara Smoot can get it for you. You can contact her at 989-980-5750 or find her on the net at tracylynnjewelry.net/20318. Fabulous high fashion, affordable jewelry. Personal showings, home parties, and weddings. That's Tamara Smoot. And she also has opportunities available to be on her team.
Want a new career but not sure which one? Go back to school at Bayshire Beauty Academy in Bay City, Saginaw, and Standish. Learn the art of making others beautiful with a new career in cosmetology. Develop the skills needed for hairstyle and color, makeup, and more. Bayshire also offers a nail technology program, or you can become a massage therapist. Be your own boss and work in massage offices or private practice. Bayshire Beauty Academy can give you the education you need in less than 13 months. And you may qualify for financial help at the Bay City location. Full and part-time opportunities are available, so make the schedule that works best for you. Call 800-732-HAIR or learn more online at BayshireBeautyAcademy.edu. Not only is Bayshire a great place to learn new skills, it's also a full-service salon. Stop in for a haircut, perm, shellac, massage, and much more. It's time to go back to school at Bayshire Beauty Academy in Bay City, Saginaw, and Standish. Call 800-732-HAIR.
New Beginnings Fair, Psychic Reading Center, Alternative and Holistic Health. Visit 1022 North Genesee Road, Burton, Michigan. Call 810-744-4077.
You have help.
We're back, and we're here in the studio with Jae Oh, our Medicare expert. So we're talking about A, B, C, and D. And once again, run us through those. A is
Hospital, which I would have called facilities.
B.
B is medical, which I would have called services.
C.
C is Medicare Advantage.
Which combines A
elements
and B.
of Part A, Part B, and in many cases, prescription drug benefits otherwise known as Part D.
Very good. So this, just hearing you talk about these things and the little bit that I know makes me realize that I can't make these decisions without talking to an expert.
It's going to get more difficult, to be candid with you. And the
Oh,
reason
God.
for that is that the fact of the matter is that Medicare costs, because of the 58 million people and the fact that there are so many, that's just an enormous program and very complicated. You're probably going to see some debate over the next weeks before the end of the year, which will talk about what the Medicare premium rate will be going into 2017. So, and that has totally changed as a result. This is not any news to anyone, but when it becomes reality, then you've got to think through what choices. So what ends up happening is people decide to retire or not, people decide to continue working or not, people decide to accept Social Security or not. All of these types of, many complicated types of decisions are made. And now we have yet another moving part, which is going to be that Medicare premiums are going to actually meaningfully move, and other costs on that portion are going to meaningfully move.
Wow. It's intense, isn't it? How do you keep on top of all this?
Well, it's not too difficult because the fact is that if you're focused on the fact that this is still a financial contract and not pay too much attention. I'm aware of what the debate is about, the hepatitis G drug is too expensive or some kind of very expensive medications, and these catch the headlines. And politics, of course, certainly playing a role, because these decisions are ultimately made by Congress. As far as changing the rules of Medicare are under congressional control. But I don't control those things on a day-to-day level. What I can control is the knowledge about, okay, what's the effect and what's the implication, ramification for our clients. That is something that we can keep on top of.
Very good. And I'm sure that your clients appreciate your knowledge very much. So for a person turning 65, what would be the best advice that you could give them at this point?
Well, I think the first thing for a person turning 65 is to correctly enroll. We talked earlier about Medicare.gov. We talked about going to your Social Security Administration office and enrolling. Because, again, if you do not enroll during your open enrollment period for Medicare, if you are not a full-time employee and covered by your employer, then the fact is that if you enter into penalties for example, in Part B and Part D, if you enter the penalty phase, those penalties never expire throughout your life.
So you want to really stay on top of this. So take note, if you are turning 65 within the next 3 months or 3 months before you turn 65, you should hop on top of this right away.
At the very minimum, for example, there are certain persons that you can delay enrollment in Part B. If, for example, you work for a large employer and that employer is paying for your health insurance, you're a full-time worker, for example. If you are covered from your employer, then it is possible to delay enrollment in Part B. Whether or not it's a good idea is a different matter, but whether you are able to, that option is available. So to further complicate things, there's a difference between what you can do and what is advisable to do. Right. So, I mean, it's kind of like, I try to describe Medicare as kind of like chess. I can know where the queen moves. I can know where the bishop moves. That doesn't mean that's where they should move. Right. You can know the rules about the way. So the first layer is that people don't really understand the rules right from the beginning. Even after you fully understand the rules, Then the second